right, this is one of those rare and wonderful, wonderful moments. We're here with Shigeru Miyamoto, the man behind just about everything you love at Nintendo. How are you?
Fine.
Good. So today you talked a lot about sort of trying to create some emotions that are in the game. And I was just curious, what has been your current emotion looking at what the Wii has done, both in Japan and here, with all this incredible success that maybe was even more surprising than you expected?
Yes, I've been smiling a lot. The most important thing for me is to see the consumers enjoying themselves. So to be honest, I was quite relieved to see the Wii do so well.
Do you think it's sort of a vindication, or is it a victory that obviously something that you've been trying to accomplish in video games, to do something new and create a new emotion, really has worked, and it's worked many times over?
To be honest, I've been very surprised because among all the emotions that I've seen and the responses that I've seen to the Wii and the games that we've put out, I'm seeing people enjoying it in many ways that I didn't even expect. So that's been both refreshing and surprising at the same time. You see, a lot of the people who run video game companies and manage video game companies don't actually play many games themselves. They're business people and they don't play a lot of games. But when we go and we have meetings with them and we show them the software and we bring out the Wii, for the very first time, they're getting up and they're playing. They're taking off their jackets, their suit jackets, picking up the controller, and they're playing tennis. And that's something that I think is somewhat unique and is happening, I think, for the first time. So I think that's very good.
Now, actually, so many new people are playing the Wii, and it's bringing a whole new audience, obviously, to video games. Do you really see video games changing from what we really, saw them once as into really this new style of game that you do have on the Wii when you look at, say, Rayman Raving Rabbids or Wii Sports or Wii Play?
Well, I think that the definition of what we've seen as a video game up until now will still remain. People will always look at those and expect those to be video games and expect those kind of video games to be made. But what I think is going to happen is maybe not necessarily the definition will change, but I think it will be broadened to include all of these other kinds of video games that we're starting to see emerge.
Now, I can really see many independent game developers looking at what you can do with the Wii, and they have that nice, fresh imagination to really do something with it. Are you seeing the more established game companies that aren't Nintendo game companies doing things with the Wii that you said, wow, that's neat, and they're going in the right direction, or do you think they still have a ways to go to really reach that point of taking advantage of what the Wii can do?
You take, for example, a place like Ubisoft. They have some people who are very interested in creating new ideas and coming up with new styles of gameplay. And the work that they've done very early on, they've found the Wii to be a very fun and interesting tool for them that allows them to bring those ideas to the public. So I think obviously, as developers start to look at the audiences that they're developing their games for and who they're trying to reach, I think they're going to start to come up with new ideas that take great advantage of the Wii Remote.
The new Mii channel where you get to have sort of a contest between the Miis. If you could elaborate a little more on what you're able to do there, because it really did sound fun.
Well, yeah, I think that in essence, taking something a very simple channel idea and combining it with the functionality of Wii Connect 24 is going to allow us to come up with some very new and unique ideas. And in this case, I think what's very interesting is, for example, if I were to tell people to make a Mii of me, then if you look at how many Wiis are out there in the world, you're going to end up with hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of Miis of Miyamoto. And so then the question becomes, okay, so all these people have made these different versions of me using the Mii channel. Which one's the best? And I think that's a very fun thing to look at, and you could, doing some contests like that and evaluating that would be a very fun thing. And it's kind of, it's interesting because obviously not everybody has the same creative passion or creative skill, but with the Mii channel what we've done is we've given them a limited palette with a limited number of choices. And so then by having these contests within this limited palette to see who can create the closest resemblance to me, or who can create the best version of me within this palette, I think is very interesting. It'd be kind of like, say, having a painting contest using only 6 colors, not 36. Who can create the best painting using only 6 colors? I think it's a very interesting idea, and it's one that we're looking at.
And also, you showed us Super Mario Galaxy, which looked very interesting. Where did you come up with the initial idea of wanting to have different worlds that you would sort of bounce around with? It's so different than some of the other ways that you've approached a Mario game in the past.
The first things we did was we looked at ways to kind of change the different levels that Mario would explore. And one idea we had for that was to have these smaller spherical areas that Mario could explore. And we thought then, okay, so if you have these small globes, then how would you travel from one to the other? And we tried to think of, what would make that fun and how that could be a fun experience for the player. So that's kind of where the idea started. And then, working with that, we said, well, then if each spherical planet has its own gravitational field and pulls you from one to the other, that could be a very different experience from what we've seen with the Mario games up until now. We kind of felt that maybe people had gotten a little bit tired of the way that the Mario games have always progressed in terms of always moving in one direction or always going kind of in the same way. And so we thought that if we go with these spherical planets, then all of a sudden, you can go anywhere. You can run all around it in any direction you want. And then the gravity really plays into it in a way that makes it very fun and interesting. And so this whole idea fit really well with this galaxy idea, and that those kind of blended together to create and kind of spur some more ideas in terms of how we flesh out this game.
Well, great. I cannot tell you how excited I am to actually finally play this game that was once Mario 128. I thank you so much for your time, Miyamoto. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you very much.
Catch an all-new X-Play, weeknights at 8, only on G4.